Good day. Today we have one I'm going to do in two parts because there's no way I can get it all done in one unless this thing goes to, being a full feature movie. We are going to be dealing once again with the wonderful Massachusetts Commonwealth Police Department. This would be three cases that I know of. I touched on one. This will be the second one, and there'll be a third, all pertaining to the wonderful Massachusetts Commonwealth Police Department. So, I don't know what the rules are in Massachusetts and the Commonwealth, but they have different rules than we do, or at least what I've heard of. And I've watched a lot of courts. And Massachusetts, I should have put my teeth in, is unique to itself. But we are going to deal with Massachusetts Commonwealth versus Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Boy, I really should have put in my teeth. This is going to be a tongue twister. I did that on purpose. Anyhow, this is Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Wow. She graduated from college, top of her class, got a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Science. Not too bad. She went started going to law school, and was in the middle of going to law school when she decided to take up a job with the Sheriff's Department in the correctional facilities, correctional officer. And she did that for a while, and then found her way onto the regular city police force. So, she's a pretty smart cookie, for the most part there. Well, got a Bachelor of Science degree in criminology. That's pretty good. Her fiance, now ex-fiance, and I'll be referring to him as douchebag for the most part in this video. And I've got other words for him that will probably pop up as we go through. And yes, is this showing me a little bias? Yes, it is showing my little bias here, but hey, I'm entitled to it. My show. Anyhow, he worked for the fire department for the same city. So we've got a cop and a fire department, so we got two people who are definitely into high action, and their days are long and their rests are hard. So there's that. He's also a paramedic fire department, so he's used to that kind of stuff. They're gonna get married. That's why he's ex-fiance. I'm not putting a picture up of him because he's not worthy of it. Well, actually, you'll see one later. Kind of. I got lots of notes on this one, so sorry if my attention goes away. Well, while they were still fiancés, not plural, she got pregnant and then went on maternity leave. So she was, away from the department appropriately. Having troubles, of course. Anyone having, going through pregnancies and whatnot, first time. Normal things that mothers go through, or soon to be mothers. Well, their relationship started to fall apart. Of course, she's now, she's knocked up, and Mr. Douchebag is having other ideas, which really affects her because she's pretty much given up her career. Bachelor of Science in Criminal Science. Has some lawyer knowledge, going to law school, and worked her way through from sheriff's department into city police. So she had a career going, and she was doing good, but their relationship started falling apart, and she does not take it very well on many levels, as would anyone else, in that situation. She has her child. The relationship between her and her fiance, now definitely ex-fiance. She does have her child, and something that happens to many women, and unfortunately we don't study it enough and should, is she gets postpartum depression. Actually, for her, it actually is kind of like borderline postpartum psychosis. You know, depression, wanting to kill yourself, threatening to kill the baby, all kinds of, you need help. Need help. Douchebag just complains about it, complains about it, and complains about it. Hence, X. That doesn't help her much. I mean, granted, she starts doing a little drinking, or maybe a lot of drinking. Who knows? And still being a mom. She's still on maternity leave from the police department. Something she didn't know is douchebag has decided to file a restraining order against her because they did get in a row and she kicked his ass. She punched him in the face 3 times. Apparently the dude doesn't know how to put up a blocking defense. Not quite the rough and tumble fireman paramedic, but anyhow, more power to her for kicking his ass. So he, of course, being the adult male that he is, ran away and is filing a restraining order, wanting her to stay away from him, of course, and says she's a danger to society and a danger to the child. Now, she doesn't know any of this. This was all done behind her back. She has no idea that this is going on. That's, meanwhile, good old douchebag, by the way, still lives with his parents. That's also going to come in. And one day, several police officers show up at Kelsey's store. One of them is actually her ex-partner from, being on the force. She has no idea why they're there. And, she, no problem with opening the door for them, letting them in. If I can do this right. There we go. No problem opening the door and letting them in. Where they then, to her surprise, hit her with the restraining order, where they're going to have to take away her firearms because, he's, and according to him, according to X, she's mentally unstable and has made threats against him and made threats against the baby. Okay, again, remember, she's got a disorder going on right now. A serious one and a real one, okay? Needs help, needs attention, does not need Mr. Flakeola to run away and cause problems, but Mr. Flakeola runs away and causes problems. So, she knows nothing about it. She's not seen, they haven't seen any marriage counselors, anything. All she knows is all of a sudden, several police officers show up at her door. One of them, right there, is her ex-partner. Lets them come in. They hit her with a restraining order. Shocks the hell out of her. And in the restraining order, again, like I said, to take her firearms and take the baby. Several police officers come in. They surprise her. Someone who is having postpartum separation disorder walk in and want to take her baby. Uh, well, what happens next is unclear because, of course, we have two stories as to what has happened, what happens next. Um, the police officer and police officers do not have their body cameras on. Convenient. Yeah, we don't know what happens. We don't know what went down. Um, the well, her former partner, cop, ends up pulling his firearm, shooting twice, one hitting an air conditioner unit, and the second one hitting her dead center in the chest. Needless to say, she's down. Of course, they, get her guns and get the baby. And, she is airlifted to a hospital in critical, very critical conditions. They're doing everything they can to keep her alive. She should have died from, for the most part, she should have died, and most people would have died from that shot right into her chest at short range. Good job, ex-partner. Again, I don't know. We don't know what happened. Court's coming. A court case is coming. A court case is coming. But you couldn't. The one come in with a care worker, a healthcare worker. Maybe just to look at the list, that the complaint list. And just looking at it reads like she's got postpartum depression or psychosis. But no, they throw up. 3 cops show up. Obviously, things was not handled well. Who knows what happens? He ends up almost being killed, getting shot in the chest, short range, from her ex-partner. The bullet caused. I'm going to have to read this. The bullet caused severe damage to her lungs, her diaphragm, and her liver. So obviously the bullet bounced around. 9mm, probably. Suffered multiple broken ribs. One probably from the impact of the bullet, and 2 probably people, doing work on her. Her injuries has her ongoing pain, significant difficulty breathing, which is going to be a factor here. So she was in urgent care and did not get out of the hospital for 53 days. 53 days for her to be up to a point that they can let her out of the hospital. I've been in the hospital a lot. I've been in there for a month and a half. She's got me beat. I think the longest was a month, a little over a month, is when I was in the hospital. So, not fun. Anyhow, since she's clearly been away for a while, her father, who happens to run a security company, stops by, or had stopped by, and he made sure the security cameras are working, and hooked up an alarm to the house, because the house is going to be, unattended while she's going to be away for a while. Good on Dad, and let's put a pin in that for now, okay? Okay, just remember this, okay? While Kelsey is in the hospital, douchebag breaks into her house. He brings a couple of his goons with him. I'm gonna post production put a little video here for you. Uh, anyhow, again, he busts into her house, brings some of his goons with him. Because apparently, I guess he needs 3 or 4 people. I think a total of 4 people came in, him and 3 buddies. They steal her laptop. They steal her iPad. He steals her passport. He steals cash, and he steals gift cards. He also steals love letters, including those which said she's an quote unquote an amazing mother and a wonderful partner. Credit her for being, good mom. Steals that too. Now, once he's gone with absconded with all of this booty, he accesses her social media. Nice guy with obviously laptop and iPad. He accesses her emails, accesses her medical records, accesses her travel account, accesses her bank account, steals $5,000 from her, moves it into his account, closes down various accounts of hers. And like I said, this is kind of why I call him douchebag. This guy has all the character in the world. I mean, obviously she's better off without this card. But unfortunately, she didn't find all this out, what a creep he is, until, they're already, she's knocked up and he's running away. Anyhow, when she gets out of the hospital 53 days later, she does not get to go home and do rest and recuperation at home. She gets taken to jail. This is where we're going to end part 1. I'm going to kind of chop it up, make it more doable. So, part 2 is coming very soon. I'm doing it next. But, surprise, surprise. Exit hospital, police escort to the police station. I'm not quite sure how that went down, whether, the police met her at the hospital or I'm not sure how that went down. All I've heard and all I researched is into the hospital. So, and this is part 1. But, here we got an excellent officer in a relationship, hey, fire department, and police officer combination. They're getting along great till she gets pregnant. Then things start falling apart. And one thing right now that definitely should have happened is a little more awareness of mental health. Police officers. Again, our wonderful Massachusetts state, Commonwealth Police Department and police officers. In case you haven't figured out, this is Car 54, Where Are You? It's an old black and white comedy, and if you got good eyes, you will see that is, yes, Fred Gwynne, more popularly known as Herman Munster. And that's the little guy who always goes, ooh, Ooh, and I'm just blank on his name, of course. But anyhow, there are a couple of buffoon police officers, hence it's called Car 54, Where Are You? Big tip-off is where this is going. So, anyhow, we'll end it here. I'll get working on part 2. And we'll see you there and then. Hang tight.